Welcome to SilverC Review. This podcast will have an introduction, a movie review, a movie recommendation, some jokes and quotes, and then Inside the Intorvert section. All the times are listed down below, so if you want to skip around, just listen to certain things or watch certain things, feel free to do so. It's going to get a little dark in this podcast, but that was all on intention. This is going to be the last video I do. Maybe sometime in the future, if it's requested, I'll do more, but as of right now, this is the very last video I'm ever going to record, or for this at least. So I thought it would be cool doing the same thing that I did in one of those previous podcasts, although previously I did that on accident. This time it's on purpose, just to have this video progressively getting darker and darker, because I'm going to go to audio only, so it's like perfect. It's like a natural fade out, and I've got like water behind me. Hopefully it's semi-bright so you can kind of see me right now, but I've got my camo jacket on. I'll just be fading out to where all you can do is hear me at the end, so that'll be perfect. It's a movie that I saw recently, Upgrade, giving that one a 7 out of 10. I really like this movie. It didn't quite make my collection, but it was very close. And I mainly wasn't a big fan of the ending. It had a good twist to it, but I don't know, I didn't like it. My mouth is really cold, so it's making it hard to talk. It's very cold today. And now that the sun's gone, it's even colder. Hope my camera's not tilted or anything. My tripod's tilted, but I'm pretty sure my camera's straight. A Star is Born, giving that one a 7 out of 10. Also a good movie. Also didn't make it into my collection, but it was definitely worth watching. Very good. This episode is going to be my top 10 of 2018. So all the movies that I've seen that came out in 2018, I'm doing top 10. It will not be all inclusive. There's a lot of movies that I did not get to see. It's kind of frustrating that they put out so many movies right at the end of the year. I mean, there were many times throughout this year that I had nothing that I wanted to review. There was nothing good out that I wanted to watch that I felt like I could do a review on. And then at the end of the year, it's just like bam, 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 bam. Like, there's so many I can't even watch them. And the smart thing to do would be to wait to record this episode until the actual end of the year. But as I've said in my previous ones, we're recording all these in the same day, so I just wanted to get out there and get it all done. That way I don't have to worry about recording them anymore and worry about daylight. And because I'm having to, I had to go in super early, and luckily I'm not working overtime this week. I was able to get off early and get out and do this stuff. So when I go to audio only, I won't have to worry about that. I can just come out, take a picture, and then walk around in darkness if I have to. But I totally got off subject there. I will end up having to use my flashlight because it's getting dark and hard to see, but I went back and listened to I went through to get all the good grief. I've tried to do like 5 different sentences right there, and I kept changing my mind on which way I wanted to go. In order to get some of the scores that I had given previous movies, I had to listen to some of these podcasts. I kept most of the information that I type on here on the computer, but for the first 6 episodes and then a few that just ended up getting lost, I didn't have the information, so I had to actually go and listen to the old podcast. And I went and listened to the first one, and I was really harsh on movie ratings. There were a lot of them I was giving 2 scores lower than I felt like I would now, so I thought that was kind of interesting. How I was given stuff that was pretty decent, like 4s and 5s instead of 6s and 7s. I may actually put my hood up once it gets darker, because the wind coming off the water, it's not strong by any means, but it's definitely cool, and it's blowing past my ears. But some of the movies that I have not seen from 2018 that will not be in this list, that they're on my list to see, I just haven't had time. Which I didn't put it on here, but the next 2 movie reviews I'm going to do is going to be Aquaman and Mortal Engines. They will not be on here either. Originally I was like, oh, I'll be able to watch those before this podcast comes out. Technically I will, but I am not able to watch them before I record this podcast. But, so they will not be in my list. And here are some of the other ones that I think will be pretty good that I just haven't gotten a chance to watch yet before I've recorded this. I'm going to get out my flashlight because there's a lot to read. Oh look, it's already on. Okay, so movies that I have not yet seen but I plan to. Ralph Breaks the Internet, Robin Hood, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Mary Poppins Returns, Bumblebee, Glass, Welcome to Morrowind, Mile 22, Hotel Transylvania 3, Slender Man, Hotel Artemis, Sorry to Bother You, Nun, Breaking In, First Purge, Happy Time Murders, I Feel Pretty, Blind Spotting, A Simple Favor, Suspiria, Hunter Killer, 8th Grade, The Breadwinner, Phantom Thread, and about 15 more. Those are all ones that I've not yet seen. I know I've heard some of them are not that great, but I still would like to watch them just so I know for a fact that they're not that great. But anyways, that's going to be it. We're going to go into the top 10 of 2018. There will be probably spoilers, so if I start talking about a movie and you haven't seen it, you can stop it there. Number 10 is going to be Tag. This is a next level comedy, is what I consider a next level comedy. Great storyline, interesting messages, based on a true story, even though it wasn't needing to be based on a true story. It had a decent ending. I died laughing in this movie, and it was just like the filming techniques in it were very incredible for a comedy, and that's what I'm kind of labeling as a next level comedy, and I'll talk more about that in another one. But Tag, very good, number 10. Number 9, Avengers Infinity War. There's so much going on in this movie, it's great. I didn't like it nearly as much as other people, mainly because I didn't realize that it was going to be a two-part movie. I knew a little bit beforehand that they were going to have it like that at one time, but I didn't like the way this ended at all. If I had known going into it it was going to end like that, I think it would have been better and higher up my list, but I did not. And the ending really knocked it down quite a bit. Number 8 is going to be Dunkirk. I'm not a huge war movie fan, but man, this one was excellent. I really liked how it was shot. I liked how there wasn't a whole lot of dialogue, and I just really liked everything about this movie. So that's going to be number 8, Dunkirk. Number 7, Incredibles 2. Of course, I'm huge on Pixar. It's my second favorite or third favorite movie production company, behind Marvel and Studio Ghibli. This one was just as good as the first one, even if it took forever for them to finally bring it out, but it was excellent. Loved it. Loved the first one. Loved the second one. That's going to be number 7. Number 6, Ready Player One. This one is probably so high because I'm a gamer, so as a gamer I loved this movie. Great storyline, great action, so many references, it was insane. Ending was perfect to it. I just really all around like this movie. So that's number 6. Number 5, Game Night. This is the other next level comedy. This was technically the first what I would consider next level comedy. And I made that up. I don't know, maybe someone else out there says next level. I'm just saying that the way they filmed Game Night was just so awesome. It was just a fantastic comedy. They really put a lot of technique and effort into filming it to make it like a great movie all on its own, and then you add in the amazing comedy where every joke hits, and you've just got a very awesome movie. Not something I've seen in the past from comedies, so that's why it made my number 5. It was really great. Number 4, Won't You Be My Neighbor. This one's technically a documentary, but it is excellent. It's got so many good messages to it, and for me to rate a documentary this high, I hate documentaries. I really, unless they're like nature or something, I really don't like them. I don't know if they even have nature documentaries, I don't know if that's what you would call them, but this one's excellent. The messages in it is something we all need to hear right now, everyone out there, and it would be good for everyone to see this movie. He was a great man, and definitely check out my review on it if you haven't already. That was number 4. Number 3 is Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. This one's great. It is fantastic. And good story, good action. Kept me very entertained throughout the entire movie, and of course it leaves you wanting more. I gave this one a 10 out of 10. It was very, very well done. Number 2, that was number 3. Number 2 is going to be The Greatest Showman. This one I only gave an 8 out of 10. I really wish I had given it a 9 out of 10. This one is mainly rated so high because it played a major role in my life. I ended up going through something, and this was like the perfect movie for me to watch. Really brought home the whole be yourself, and you gotta do what's best for you, and so that's probably why it's so high. I mean, it's an excellent movie, and I love musicals, and it's Hugh Jackman, so everything about it's good already. The only reason I would not have given it a 10 out of 10 now is because, which I said in the review of it, the ending it all kind of comes together so quickly that it was like kind of hard to believe something like that would actually happen. But in general, I've got 4 of the songs on my CD out in my car that I listen to all the time. It's got great messages, just fantastic movie. It really helped me out more than any other movie has. Gave me something to hold on to, I guess. And number 1 is going to be Deadpool 2. Obviously this movie is hilarious. It's got a good story. It's fun to watch. I'm big on comedies, if you can't tell, because I've got so many of them in my top 10. I've got a very dark sense of humor that a lot of people don't realize because they see me as such a nice and gentle person, and I've got like this dark sense of humor, but it's great. I love Deadpool. I love everything about him. Ryan Reynolds is perfect for it. Even outside the Deadpool movies, just everything you see about Deadpool is perfect. It's like, yes, that's Deadpool right there. That's so awesome. So, I really loved it. Deadpool 2 is number 1. And a couple of honorable mentions that were very close to making the list. The Darkest Minds, which I saw recently. Black Panther, it was pretty close. Smallfoot was very good. Venom was good, much better than I thought it was going to be. Bohemian Rhapsody, very good. Overboard, way better than I thought it was going to be. It took me by surprise. I didn't think it was going in the direction it did. So that was the main reason I like that one so much. And Ant-Man and the Wasp, again, good movie. All of them are good, they just weren't quite as good as the ones I consider for the top 10. But that's going to be it for the top 10 of 2018. We're going to go on to the recommendation. This is going to be Orphan. This movie is from 2009. And it's very cold holding it out right here for some reason. This is a very dark and decently scary movie. It's definitely entertaining. It keeps you guessing on what's going to happen. I'm going to put my hood up because my ears are just about to fall off. But it keeps you guessing on what's going on. The description says, devastated by the loss of their unborn baby, Kate and John decide to adopt a child. At the orphanage, both feel drawn to a little girl named Esther and take her home. But when a dangerous series of events unfolds, Kate begins to suspect that there's something evil lurking behind that child's angelic exterior. And I don't want you to spoil anything about it, but there's definitely some twists and turns in it, and it's kind of a dark and jump scary type movie, so I recommend checking it out, Orphan. We're going to go on to the jokes and quotes. Isn't this part just so fun? Okay, as I blind the camera. I'm not sure if that was hitting the camera or not. A hole was found in the news camp wall. Police are looking into it. It's too dark, I can't see. I love marriage proposals. They're just so engaging. Alright. Quotes. Just because I don't... Oh, I'm sorry. Just because I didn't react doesn't mean I don't notice. Didn't notice. Did so terrible in that quote. A lot of times people think that I'm not watching stuff or that I'm not very observant just because I'm not reacting to it. And I'm under the impression that you don't have to react to everything that you notice. And actually I kind of enjoy it oftentimes because that means that they underestimate me. But just don't forget that. Just because someone looks like they didn't notice something or they didn't react to it doesn't mean that they didn't notice it. So if you keep doing something over and over and you're just like, hey, I'm getting away with this, it's likely going to come back and get you. The other quote, I'll find a way or make one. I love this quote so much. This quote just pumps you up. Like, it just shows, I try to have this mindset as much as possible, and I say this all the time, but it just shows that you're willing to do whatever it takes. Like, either you'll find a way to find a solution or you'll make one yourself. Like, just that determination behind this quote is so awesome. I love it. So that's what I recommend you do. You either find a way to fix your problem or to be happy, or you make a way. Just don't let anything stop you. That's it for jokes and quotes. Inside the Introvert. So I was working for a guy a while back, pulling up wood flooring. Not something I've ever done before. And it was fairly cold out, so I had a hoodie on. Of course, I was inside his house, but it was still, I think we had the back door open, so it was a little cool. But I ended up getting overheated. And I tend to do this a lot. I don't know what it is, but I can easily either overheat myself or overwork myself. And I guess I just push past my limits and don't realize it. And then I get nauseous. And so I ended up getting nauseous, and I went outside and kind of threw up a little bit. I didn't have much because it was in the morning. Plus, that's another thing. For some reason, when I wake up early in the morning, I don't feel all that great. And it was funny, though. He asked me if I was hungover. And I had never had anyone ask me if I was hungover before. He didn't know me at all because I don't drink at all. But I thought that was very funny. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I could totally see how it would look like I was hungover, even though I was just got too hot. The next story, I went to a Chinese food drive-in, and they had like this semi-transparent, kind of thick plastic stuff over the window, like the drive-through window. Something you would use like in construction. And I was like, great, I wonder if I need to go in. I've been inside this place, but I'd never been through the drive-through before. And it happened at a time that I was sick, so I really didn't want to go in. That was the only reason I was going through the drive-through. But I pulled up, and this lady like pops out of it. I guess their window was broken, that's why they were using that stuff there. And she asked me for my order, and I told her what it was, and I like repeated it, and she's like, okay, I'll be right back. And I sat there for several minutes. It was almost like they were having to make my order right then. It was very odd. And so she finally, I think it was a guy that came back out, and he checked with me to see what my order was, and I was like, I talked to you on the phone. And so he comes back in, he took my credit card, came back out, gave me the credit card, and then I'm just sitting there waiting. I was like, I wonder if they're ever going to bring my food to me. When she finally brings it to me, she just thrust it out the window, and she lets go of it. I barely had a chance to like hang on or to grab onto it. It was just kind of funny how it was all like, okay, here you go. It's like, this wasn't my fault. Like, I called it in, I came a few minutes later than I was told. But it was definitely an experience. And the last story, someone at work commented that they saw my Christmas lights recently. Like, I previously lived in a house, and now I'm living in an apartment. And I didn't think I was even going to get to put out my lights this year, but I did get to put them out. My landlord was very nice, and she let me run off her power, or their power. And everyone there likes them, and it just is best case scenario. But anyways, I had posted the pictures on Facebook showing my Christmas lights. So when someone said they saw them, someone at work, I figured they meant on Facebook. And she said she drove past and saw them. I was like, well, that's kind of weird, because I live in a gated apartment building. So, like, you can see them from the road, but you're looking through a gate, and it would be very hard to really see them. Mainly, you can just see my big snow globe. But, so anyways, I was like, well, maybe she did. She was referring to my old house, and because she had drove past when I had them at the house, which actually isn't very far from where my apartment is now. But so anyways, once I realized that, I didn't really want to call her out, and I was like, oh yeah. And then she started explaining to two other people that sat around me where my house was located, and I was just kind of, I didn't know what to do. I was entered a complete introverted state, 'cause I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't know if I should call her out. I just was quiet. I was just like, yeah. And so she was asking me what road it was on exactly, so they could go by and look at them, which they had both seen them on Facebook as well. I don't know why they would need to see them in person, but yeah. So I really hope they don't actually try to go by, because it's not at where I told them it was. It's in my apartments, and I'm fairly certain those two people know I live in an apartment complex also. But I just sat there like, I don't know what to say. But that's going to be it for this podcast. And that's going to be it for videos. This will be the last one. There's an introduction video out there, so go check it out. It'll give you more information about everything that's going on with my podcast. The videos up until now have been posted on YouTube, and even after this, the audio will be posted on YouTube. My throat is killing me. All the audio is also posted on SoundCloud. It stays on there until I need to delete other ones for room. I've got an Instagram and Twitter. Instagram, I've got pictures, funny pictures and stuff, and Twitter, I've got videos. And you can contact me on any of those, so feel free to make a comment. That's it. So take care of yourself, because there's only one you out there.